is something I've done for a long time, is choosing a magic word for the year. So choosing a single word that will help you embody the life that you want to create. And for me, my word this year is purpose. And so every morning it's like,
Yeah.
how can I live into my purpose? When you're stepping into that service, now all of a sudden I've created constraints so that I can generate my highest and best self in order to live into that purpose.
So, how do you define purpose?
Yeah. For me, my purpose, at least right now. So I think it's really important is that, you know, a lot of times people go, "Hey, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life." That to me is really heavy. So
Hmm.
I try to have as broad definitions and give myself the flexibility to change over time. But right now,
Hmm.
my purpose is helping other people wake up to what's important,
Okay.
because I feel like the universe gave me that gift of this all of these experiences that resulted in realizing that I was chasing the wrong things. And so being able to give that gift to other people is my highest purpose, at least for right now.
Hmm.
And so, I really encourage people to have whatever purpose they feel is central, and hold it very
Hmm.
loosely. And so I've tried to define it as broadly as possible. And so, helping people wake up could mean in my work, but it also could mean with friends. It could mean with my family. It has a broad enough definition where I'm given the flexibility and adaptability to move and change as I grow, and my purpose can grow along with it.
Hmm. So, Mike, a few years ago, I thought that the biggest problem post exit is that so many people do not stop and take a break and think through things and do some introspection. And today, I'm actually thinking that the biggest problem is something else. It's the fact that many people stop and instead of taking a break, actually retire. Because when we retire, then we create this whole system of habits supporting our comfortable life. And it's extremely hard to break out of that and find that purpose, which you just so beautifully described, that inspires you, that gets you excited, that you're obsessing about. I'm curious if you came across clients who are having that problem, kind of being stuck in a golden cage and feeling their life is empty, even though their lifestyle is beautiful. And how do you guide these people out of that problem?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, I do think selling a company and sitting in stillness is really important, because the reality is, when we look at that same driven personality type that leads us to be founders, a lot of times our edge is driven from darkness. It's driven
Mhm.
from our past traumas. It's driven from pain that we are running from, and we're looking to fill that hole with external validation and success, and all the trappings that come with that. And so, I love the book Second Mountain by David Brooks, where our first mountain business is typically,
Yeah,
building from a place of lack, building from external validation, building
yeah.
from trying to fill a hole that only you can fill. And
Mhm.
so taking that space, I think, is really important, because a lot of us wear busyness like a badge of honor. And I hear a lot of times, founders say, "Oh, I could never sit still." And whenever I hear that, my question is, what are you trying not to feel? Right. And I
Mhm.
can tell you there was a lot of things in my life that I was trying not to feel by throwing myself at
Mhm.
work, by trying to fill that hole with external validation. And so having that time and that space to actually start to lean in and feel the things that I was maybe suppressing, or, anything from, PTSD that I was not willing to acknowledge, or this constant need to prove myself. Like, all of those things came front and center during that period of stillness. But you
Yeah.
have to lean in. I think you've nailed it, right? If you're just creating comfort, there's actually no
Mhm.
space to lean into those feelings that we've been suppressing for a long time. So, I recommend that everyone take some space, at least 6 months, but do the work.
Yeah.
Lean into the feelings, like figure out what it is that's driving you to never be able to sit still. And then on the backside of that, now let's start stepping into purpose. Now let's think about what building from light, what building from purpose can actually look like. And
Mhm.
I do think that there is a trap in just creating so much comfort that you're now just creating a new way of distracting yourself. It might have been your company before, and now maybe it's pleasure. And so I think you have to
Mhm.
do the work in association with sitting in stillness.